It has been said, if you don't know where you are going, any road will take you there. All of us are traveling along the road of life. We may have different starting points, but we will all have similar experiences. Sometimes the road is smooth sailing. Other times the road is rough. But on the road to life, there are detours, road hazards, and sometimes dead ends. The words of a very popular song says, "Many times I have been alone, and many times I've cried. Anyway, you'll never know the many ways I've tried. The wild and windy night that the rain washed away has left a pool of tears crying for the day. Why leave me standing here? Let me know the way." And there are many people still trying to find their way. That was a song from the Beatles, "The Long and Winding Road." You know, when you walked in today, you saw motorcycles that are right out front, and that to me signifies that rider that is riding along this long and winding road with the wind blowing in their faces, and they're right there enjoying nature and the road like you can never enjoy while you're inside of an automobile. But today I want to talk about the road of life. All of us start off with the intent of enjoying the ride and cruising safely to a desired destination. I don't think any one of us took off on this road to life thinking that my purpose is to fail, to go off the road into a ditch, to get sidetracked, and to do nothing of any value. All of us had hopes and dreams of taking this ride and having a wonderful ride down the road of life. And all of us are at different stages now on where we are. Some of us may be where we thought we would be, but most of us are wishing we were at a different place. There was a man who had such a ride, and I want to take a moment to share with you how he was able to accomplish great things that we're still talking about 1,000 years later. This young man was the son of David, the king of Israel. Yes, the same David that killed Goliath. David was dying and coming to the end of his leadership as the king of Israel. And God chose his son Solomon to be the next leader of the nation. Solomon was about to be crowned the king. That was no easy assignment for a young man who was not yet 20 years old. Do you remember when you were about to be crowned the king? You can say, "What do you mean?" Well, I remember when I was about to be crowned the king. I had just turned 18. and I was preparing to leave home with all of my possessions. I've been marking that day off on the calendar because I had to live under the cruel dominion of my parents, where I had to obey everything that they told me. I had to get up when they told me to get up. I had to do what they told me to do and go where they told me to go, not go where they told me not to go, and I had to live under that dictatorial rule of my parents. But now I was turning 18 and I was leaving home on my own. I still remember going to the airport, at the Hobby Airport, getting on an airplane, national airline, going to Los Angeles, one-way ticket, $49. I was going to be the king of my life. I was being crowned the king of my life. It was up to me how things were going to go from that point on. Nobody was going to tell me what time to get up out of the bed, or where to go, or what to do. I'm in charge. I'm the king. You remember when you were crowned king? You said, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. This is my life, and I'll do what? What I want to do with it. Yeah, you were crowned king as well. You may not have thought about it as that, but that is exactly what we do. We're going to run our own life. That means now, I've been riding along my road of life with my parents in their car, but now I have my own vehicle, and I'm going to determine where to get on and what exit to take and which direction I'm going to go. And I know a lot better about where I need to be and where I need to go than my parents ever did. Didn't you? Y'all don't have to say nothing. I know you did. Because that's what we do. I know what I need to do. I'm 18. I am grown. I didn't know what the future would be, but I had hopes and I had dreams for a great life. What about you when you were crowned king? At that time of his life, Solomon was innocent. He was full of hope for the future. He knew how to worship God and seek God's help and direction. God met him at a place called Gibeon, where he was worshiping. And there was a conversation between God and Solomon. God asked this new king a question. And we're going to look at that in the book of 1 Kings chapter 3, beginning at verse 5. At Gibeon, the Lord appeared to Solomon during the night in a dream. And God said, "Ask for whatever you want me to give you." And God says, "What do you want me to give you?" In other words, what do you want from me? Now, that's a monumental moment for those who know God and who he is and what he does and what he has. You asking me what I want from you? What if he'd asked you that question? What would you say? Right now. Now, you know what Solomon said, so don't say what he said. But honestly, what would you say if God says, what do you want from me? That's a blank check from God. What do you want? We're going to start thinking about all the things. Well, what kind of car? Well, what kind of car? Now God's going to have to wait because we're going to say, now, what kind of car would that I want? No, I don't want this one. Do I want that one? Do I want this one? What kind of house? What kind of jewelry? What kind of man? What kind of woman? What do I want? Who do I want God to take care of for me? God, I want you to go take care of this person. They've been doing stuff to me. So what do you want? All of us want something. We may have thought that we would have to get them with our own work or our own intelligence. And that's what we do when we go and start down this road of life. What do I need to do to get what I want? What do I need to do? There's some of us who says I need to go to college and get a good education so I can get a good job, so I can make a lot of money, so I can get what I want. And there's a lot of stuff that I want, so that's what I'm going to do. Somebody else who says, I don't want to do that. Somebody else who says, I'm going to take what I want. I'm going to see what someone else has that I want, and I'm going to take it. So whether we want it by our intelligence or our luck or by hook or by crook, I'm going to play the lottery every day, and I'm going to hit it big. And don't worry, Pastor, when I hit it, I'm going to tithe. But what did you have in mind about what you wanted? Now, if we believe in God, we would have a list of things that we wanted from him. And if we did not believe in God, or we were just unaware that God is in charge of everything and that we should have been in a relationship with him. So what do you want? Everyone wants something, and you still want something. Some want money to pay off their debts and to be able to get other things. Others want a husband or a wife. Some people are in search of meaningful work and clear purpose for their lives. Somebody just want peace and quiet. Somebody else want good health and good relationships. What you want may not be what you need, however, as you travel the road of life. But what you want can be a very good indication of where your heart is. There's a greater tragedy of not getting what you want is wanting something and getting it and then realizing that that's not what you need. How many times have you heard stories of people whose lives were ruined because they got what they wanted? Oh, you prayed for that man, and once you got him, you prayed to get rid of him. Look at the stories of the people who won millions of dollars in the lottery, and it destroyed their lives, and they lost all their money, they lost their family, they lost their friends. But what did Solomon want? His priorities were in order. He didn't have long to think about his answer. Verse 9, he said this when God said, so what do you want? He said, verse 9, so give your servant a discerning heart to govern your people and to distinguish between right and wrong. For who is able to govern this great people of yours? Now, if I was Solomon's friend and I was standing there listening to this conversation, I'm going to say, hey, is that all you want, man? God has said, whatever you want, bro. We could get a new chariot. Let's get, come on, just, but no, God, he says, I want a discerning heart, and I want to be able to govern your people. And in this verse, I want to share with you so that if you really want to be successful on the road to life, I want you to take note of what Solomon was really saying to God. Because Solomon, when he looked back in the rearview mirror of his life, he said these words in the book of Proverbs, in all of your ways, acknowledge the Lord, and he will direct your path. In all of your ways, acknowledge the Lord, and he will direct your path. He will put you on the road to success. Solomon wanted three things in this passage. Number one, he wanted God to work with him, not just with somebody else, but with him. Secondly, he wanted God to work in him, not just around him. And thirdly, he wanted God to work through him and not just for him. So if you want to be blessed and successful as you travel along the road of life, you should follow Solomon's example. Let's look at number one. Ask God to work with you. Come on, say with me. Ask God to work with you. Solomon didn't begin by asking God to work with or fix somebody else. And many times the thing we want God to do is work on somebody else so that our life can be better if they act better. And I guarantee you, when you go to the Lord wanting God to work on somebody else, the first thing he's going to do is shine a searchlight on you and ask you to fix some things in your own life. Solomon knew that what he needed was first to deal with his own shortcomings, to deal with his own weaknesses, not somebody else's. Most of the things that need to be corrected in your life will be corrected when you work on yourself. Oh, well, I don't even get any amens on that. I got a yeah and a okay. You work on yourself. Lord, work with me. Create in me a clean heart, David said. Renew a right spirit within me. Shine your light on me. Search me. Y'all don't want to do that. Yeah, work with me, Lord. Work with me. Start with me. Before I go down this pathway, I want to be right with you. Work with me. For many of us, the problems we face are always somebody else's fault. The wives blame their husbands, and all the husbands said, they ain't saying nothing. They got smart. The last time they said amen, they got in trouble. Wives blame their husbands. Kids blame their parents. Husbands blame their wives. We blame God. We blame the system. So why you didn't get that done, man? You know the system, man. You know the man. You know the man ain't gonna let you do nothing. What are you talking about? The man ain't gonna let you do nothing. You ain't doing nothing. How do you know the man ain't gonna let you do nothing? You've done nothing. We blame the man, blame the government. We blame our history. You know where we come from? Now, I ain't looking about where you come from. I want to know where you're going. And on and on and on. God worked with me, not somebody else. Solomon could have been singing that old spiritual, it's not my father, not my mother, but it's me, O Lord, standing in the need of prayer. So would you say like Solomon, men, when you're on that road to life, Lord, I want to be right with you, and I want you to work with me first. Work with me first. Can we just say that, everybody? Work with me first. Work with me first. You work with you first. Things will start getting better when you work with me first. Work with my attitude. Work with my understanding. Work with me, God. So that's the first thing he was asking God. And the second thing he was asking God, he said, ask God to work in you. Solomon knew that what he needed most was to be changed on the inside, not from the outside. He asked God to give him an understanding heart. Give me an understanding heart. Help me to work on the inside. That heart, that attitude, that disposition. When I'm going down this road, I don't have an anger management issue. I'm not on edge. I'm not criticizing everybody else. Give me an understanding heart. Too often we try to change our world with petitions and picketing and politicking. Sometimes we think if we scream a bit louder and beat our chests and beat our Bibles, we can affect change, when each one of us really need is an internal change of heart. We need God's strategic initiative to give us the wisdom and understanding on how to navigate through all the things that we need to get done. We need to know how to navigate through a lot of things. We don't need to be like a bull in a china shop, just knocking over everything and breaking up everything so that we can go down the road that we want to go down. Lord, I need wisdom on what to do, where to stop along this road, where to keep going when I don't need to stop, what not to get involved in and what to get involved in. I need an understanding heart. I need you to work in me. Say, work in me. Solomon said, God, I need something inside of me that I don't have. I need wisdom. Look at the book of Proverbs. He talks about wisdom over and over and over. I need wisdom. He had the greatest education money could buy, but he recognized the difference between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is the accumulation of facts. Wisdom is the ability to use those facts to make good decisions. God, I need wisdom to make good decisions. Most of the trouble that we're in is a result of decisions that we've made. Most of the trouble we're in, the situations we're in, the anxiety that we're suffering is a result of decisions that we made. Even the devil say, don't blame me for that. I didn't do that, you did that. Well, the devil is busy, Pastor. The devil is in my finances. The devil said, no, I ain't in your finances. You the one who spent that money. I didn't tell you to do that. You ran your credit card all the way up. You the one got in debt. The devil said, devil talked to the Lord. He lying on me. So we need wisdom, guys. We need wisdom to lead our families. We need wisdom for our finances. We need wisdom for the future. We need godly wisdom. Solomon says, work in me so I can have wisdom and discernment about what needs to be done and when it needs to be done and how it needs to be done. All of us need an understanding heart. Solomon could have asked for anything, but he knew more than anything he needed God to work in him. Thirdly, ask God to work through you. Ask God to work through you. It takes us a while to understand. And if you're not a believer, and if you're not walking with the Lord, and you're not mature, it takes us a while to understand that we are called by God for His purpose. We're called by God for His purpose. We're the man that God created. Men, you're the man that God has chosen. You're the man that God has called. So God is trying to get something done through your life if you will let Him do that. And no matter what road you're on, if God is not a part of the design of where you're traveling, you're going to be going against the wind your whole life. Too often we want God to work for us. We want God to bless us instead of asking God to work through us to be a blessing. Okay, let me say that again. We want God to work for us and bless us instead of working through us so we can be a blessing. And that's a very difficult hurdle to overcome, especially in our culture where we've been used to being on the receiving end and asking and begging and relying, standing in line, going down to the place. I had to go somewhere, I think it was a welfare office or something, and I'm like, man, people have to stand around all day here? And then they'll talk to you any kind of way. I told you to wait. I'm not just like, okay, well, I had to go for something to sign some papers for somebody. I'm like, what? Is that what happens up in here? So when you're on the receiving end, now I know what the Lord says. The servant is the borrower to the lender. I want you to be the head, not the tail. The tail is at the end, always trying to get what's left over. God said, no, that ain't the way I fixed it up for you. I plan for you to be the head. I plan for you to be the one that's generating the blessings and giving out the blessings instead of having to be in the line and say, well, when y'all going to come and when y'all going to open the door, when y'all going to start passing it out, where do I need to be? And then you got to wait all day. That ain't the way God set it up. And Solomon said, I want you to work through me. And don't you want God to work through you? Boy, it's a blessing to be a blessing. God started off with Abraham. I will bless you so that God says, I want you, to Abraham, to leave your family and your father and go down this road that I'm going to ask you to go, this road that I've designed for you, and I will bless you so that you can be a blessing and all the nations will be blessed through you. And if I take my road in life and I say, God, I want you to work in me and I want you to work through me and with me, then I start blessing others. God is on my side and God is leading and God is providing and God is saying, now that's the road that you need to be on. Solomon asked God to work through him. And God is asking you right now, no matter where you are in life, He's saying, tell me, what do you want? Some of us are still trying to figure it out. We're still trying to figure it out. You're not 18 anymore. You're not 28. You're not 38. And you're still trying to figure it out. Lord, I don't know what to do. Lord, I don't know what this thing going to hold. I don't know what the future holds. But I know who holds the future. But you're saying, I still don't know what to do. I don't know where I'm at. I don't know who I am. I don't know what my significance is. I'm just on the road. You just riding down the road hoping you don't run out of gas. And when you run out of gas, you don't know where you're going to end up at. But when God is directing your life, and God is working in you and with you and through you, you know exactly where you're going. You know exactly where you're going, and you are having joy along the way, and you are enjoying the ride. Whether or not the traffic gets stopped because there's a detour up there, you're not worried about it because you know that God is in you, and God is working with you, and God is working through you. You don't have to worry about the detours of life. You don't have to worry about the rough road that you're traveling on. God is in me, God is with me, and God is working through me. I know where I'm going. I ain't worried about this. Many people are pulling off the road of life and just saying, I don't want to go any further. I'm weary, I'm wounded, and I'm sad. Well, that's for the people who don't know God. You ought to be weary, wounded, and sad. But I'm like the song that said, but he has made me glad. I will rejoice, for he has made me glad because I know where I'm going. I'm on the road. You know, there can be two people on the same freeway, and one person's life is falling apart, and the other person in the other lane just rejoicing in the Lord. What's the difference? God is riding with one, and he's not riding with the other one. God is working with one and through one and for one, but not with the other one. This is what God said to Solomon. After Solomon said, Lord, listen, I want you to work in me and with me and through me. God says, okay, I got it. Look at what he said in 1 Kings chapter 3, verse 10. The Lord was pleased that Solomon had asked for this. Would God be pleased with what you asked for? Are you going to say, Lord, you know what? All I want to do is whatever you have designed for me to do. God said, what do you want? Lord, I want what you want. Whatever you have called me to do, I just want a clear picture of what you called me to do, and I'm ready to do that. So God said to him, since you have asked for this, not for long life or wealth for yourself, nor have you asked for the death of your enemies, but for discernment in administering justice, I will do what you have asked. I will give you a wise and discerning heart, so that there will never have been anyone like you, nor will there ever be. We're still talking about the wisdom of Solomon. And then in verse 13, he says, moreover, or if you don't know moreover, in addition, or on top of that, I will give you what you have not asked for, both riches and honor, so that in your lifetime you will have no equal among kings. God said, listen, I know how to bless you. I just want to see where you're at. I just want to see where your heart is. I want to see what's in your mind and what your heart. If you in with me, what I'm trying to get done, I'm in with you. I know how to bless you. I'm going to give you more than what you asked for. God is still in that business of giving you more than what you asked for. God has an interest in you looking good. God has an interest in you feeling good. God has an interest in you having all of your needs met. Because when other folk look at you, he wants you to give them a testimony that my God is able. My God provides all of my needs. My God is a healer. My God is the peace. My God is my joy. My God gives everything I need. Yeah, God said, that's what I'm looking for. And God said, if you walk in my ways and obey my statutes and commands as David your father did, I will give you a long life. So who is it that's asking the question, what do you want from me? It's God who says, man, I can give you anything you desire and more. Well, what does the scripture say? And God is able to do more than you can ask or think or imagine. That's the benefit of having a relationship with God. I don't have to talk to people and say, you need to really give your life to Jesus Christ. Yeah, I'm going to keep arguing with you and tell you why you need to do that. I'm just say, hey, you know what, man? If you don't know this blessing, well, it's not just hell avoidance. It's walking down this road of life that everybody's traveling. And it can be a wonderful, joyful, peaceful, blessing road to life that you're traveling. And yes, I got to pass by the same scenes that other people pass by. I got to pass by scenes of degradation and scenes of destruction and scenes of people dying. I have to experience the same thing, but I experience it in a different realm. I'm not thrown off by it. I'm not depressed by it. I'm not going away with it. I am walking because God is in me and God is with me and God is working through me. You can pass by a scene and say, oh, that's so terrible. I'll pass by it and say, let me pray God's blessing over you. And we can change this thing. Solomon is still mentioned as the wisest man that has ever lived. Unfortunately, however, there is a sad reality. Often what weakens us is the very blessings that God gives us. When your blessings become your God, you stop hearing from God. Oh, you ought to see, Pastor, the Lord blessed me with another house I can go to in the hill country. And I got a boat. And, the Lord surely blessed me. Well, you used to come to church all the time before you had a boat. But this is a nice day. It's a nice fishing day now on Sunday. I got my boat. I got a membership to the golf club. So the Lord has surely blessed me. Solomon was blessed with great power and God-given wisdom, yet his focus began to change. That change came slowly, but by the time he was an old man, he was a bitter author of the book of Ecclesiastes. Solomon looked back, he wrote about the worthlessness of all the things that he've experienced, the learning, the laughter, the liquor, the lust, the luxury, and everything that seems so important in life. He says, it's all meaningless. Or the King James says, vanity, vanity. Solomon said, man, I tried everything. And it's all just waste. As you go through this road of life and pass through there, it means nothing. So when you come to the end of the road, if you did not keep the main thing, everything you enjoyed is worth nothing. In the final chapter of Ecclesiastes, we hear from this old man whose heart can no longer hear from God. I want you to listen to the heart-warm wisdom of Solomon in Ecclesiastes 12, verses 1. He says this, remember your Creator in the days of your youth, before the days of trouble come and the years approach when you will say, I find no pleasure in them. Before the sun and the light and the moon and the stars grow dark and the clouds return after the rain, When the keeper of the house began to tremble, and strong men stoop. When the grinders cease because they are few, and those looking through the windows grow dim. When the doors on the streets are closed and the sound of grinding fades, when men rise up from the sound of birds, but all their songs grow faint. When men are afraid of heights and of danger in the streets, and when the almond trees blossom and the grasshopper drags himself along and desire no longer is stirred, then the man goes to his eternal home and mourners go about the street. He was talking about the end of the road, when all is said and done, and we're going to all come to an end of the road. So God says, so what do you want? I want a good life, but I want a life that ends with pleasing God. We're going to close with this, and Solomon closed with this in the last few verses of his book of Ecclesiastes. Now that all have been heard, here is the conclusion of the matter. Here's the wisest man that says, I've done everything that you can do. I've had everything that you can have. All the desires, all the pleasures that anybody can ever want. All the gold and the silver. People coming from all around the world. I've had power and prestige and pleasure. But here's the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God. Keep his commands. For this is the whole duty of man. For God will bring every deed into judgment, including every hidden thing, whether it is good or evil. All of us are traveling along life's road. There are some of you here today and some listening to me by video or audio. You have grown weary. And you just want to pull off the roads. And you don't want to go any further because of what you've already experienced. There are others who are riding along with no idea where the road is taking you. You just keep going and going and going without a sense of purpose. Some have wanted to turn back, but there's nothing to go back to. I would go back, but there's nothing behind me. Some have been beaten down by the withering sun and the rain. You're only smiling to keep from crying. But wherever you are, God is still asking the question, what do you want from me? And he's still willing to give you what you want from him. He just wants to know if you want him to work in you, to work with you, or to work through you. Today is a good opportunity for whoever you are, male, female, adult, or child, to reset your travel along the road to life. You can do that today. You can do that now. You can say, Lord, I've been traveling, and some of us have been traveling in what amounts to a merry-go-round. We keep going around and around and around and around, and we get bored because we've seen this before. And this, have I seen this? I just saw this. I just saw that. It keeps happening to me over and over again. This keeps happening. How can I get off? How can I go further? Well, today is your day to step forward and say, Lord, I belong to you. I'm asking and I'm acknowledging you for the rest of my life so that you will direct my path. Here's what I want to do.